Hi, this is Mr. Smith, and this is day 1 of unit number 6. The week is going to be a little bit different. We're going to start a day early, and then it's only going to be 4 days altogether because of the short school week. So anyway, the bell ringer, what was wrong with the USSR? So any criticism, any bad thing that you can think of, you can go ahead and put into the bell ringer. For the journal, in 3 to 5 sentences, address the following prompt. What do you think was bad about the USSR? That it was not able to last, because that relates to the bell ringer. You can find that here in the journal. You just click submit and answer in 3 to 5 sentences in the text box. And then for the notes, just click on this document and you should be prompted to make a copy. And then when that happens, you can see each of the units are laid out for you as well as placed for the summary. Don't forget to include the topic each day. But for the notes, Nikita Khrushchev was someone who actually was a change from Stalin. He denounced brutal methods, including a speech criticizing some of Stalin's tactics. He modified some oppression, so there still were arrests and things like that, but not nearly as extreme as before. But he did back using mighty military power to look tough, especially after the U-2 spy plane crashed in the Soviet Union during the Eisenhower administration. And then he promoted the Soviet system at the United Nations, usually through incredibly dramatic speeches, sometimes a little over the top. In 1957, the USSR launched its first artificial satellite in the first part of the space race, the first leg of the race, if you will. The Soviet Union launched the first satellite into orbit over Earth, and the United States was incredibly embarrassed because they didn't achieve it first. And so they pushed students to take math and science classes, and they also established NASA to try to lead the space exploration. In 1961, they won the second leg of the space race by sending Yuri Gagarin, the first man, into space. Once again, this was another embarrassment, and it was worried that the Soviet Union was going to dominate space and maybe even have military control over space, like placing bases on the moon. In 1961, Fidel Castro had taken over Cuba from a previous brutal dictator that had been backed by the United States. He took over the industries, and that worried a lot of people because he was leaning toward being a communist. Many fled Cuba to Florida, particularly Miami, and the USA wanted to remove Castro because of a communist threat only 90 miles from Florida. It was a major failure and embarrassment for the United States when they sent a large amount of those refugees back to Cuba to try to take it over and get rid of Castro, but that failed in what was known as the Bay of Pigs invasion. Castro then became concerned because it was pretty obvious now the United States was trying to get rid of him. And the USSR saw that as a chance. Castro's worried. We'll pretend we're protecting him. We'll be able to put missile bases in Florida. Just like the United States has some close to us, we should have some close to them. In 1961, the Berlin Wall was built. Many people have been fleeing from East to West Germany to get out of the communist side. The Soviet Union chose to close access. They were concerned about East citizens fleeing to the West, especially professionals, doctors, lawyers, professors, and other people fleeing from the East. The border was harshly enforced with arrests and armed guards, and families were torn apart. In 1962, the Soviet Union attempted to get their missile bases established on Cuba, and that turned into the most tense moment of the Cold War. The Soviet Union placed nuclear missiles in Cuba, 90 miles from the United States. The Soviets viewed this as fair since we also had missile bases in places like Turkey, close to the USSR. But the United States could not accept this, and so we ended up having an embargo around the island, stopping any ships from going or coming, and it was 13 days where anyone could have overreacted and possibly caused a nuclear war. Let's go ahead and pause there for today. And for the last assignment, is look at the reading. Reach each of the selections and complete the EI chart. So if you go to the reading here, you'll be prompted to make a copy. Please do so. And you can see each of these selections if you click on them. You can see that there's a link to go to with one web page. And so type in 5 facts from the reading, make sure they're in your own words, and 2 interpretations. and then go ahead and submit that later.